Greetings, Bat Family. Welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. You can go to our website, holybatcast.com, or find us all over social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. To search for Holy BatCast, you will find us. If you're a big fan of the show, you want to help support us, you can do that on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. No pressure. Don't feel like you got to do it. But for those of you who have done it, it means the world to us. So thank you to our patrons. We are part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out all of those shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I'm your Bat host, Andy DiGenova. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Letterboxd. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. You don't normally get new episodes in the middle of the week of Holy BatCast. This week you're gonna, because some crazy stuff's going down, and we're gonna talk about it. And I called in a couple pals to discuss what is going on out there with Zaslav and Discovery and what are they doing to WB, all that stuff. So I got two pals joining me who jumped on at the last minute. First of all, my buddy Jamie Drewley. Hey, Jamie, thanks for staying up past your bedtime.
Yeah, it's past my bedtime, but this does give me the opportunity to let you all know about my new Patreon for myself. It's called Jamie's Liver Transplant Fund because I'm going to need it here in a minute.
Great, good. We'll start a GoFundMe.
Yeah,
we'll help you out. And just like, I don't want to give anything away, but it's not that late. Is this literally past your bedtime?
This is usually the time of night where I go upstairs and lay in bed and turn on a movie to fall asleep to.
Oh, wow! Oh my God! You are an old man. You go to bed at 8:30. Wake up at like 4:30.
Well, usually between 5 and 6 somewhere. Usually, 5:30, 5:45, somewhere in there.
All right. Anyway, we also have a special guest. You've heard him recently on this show when we did our crossover with his show, The Fire Rises. It's Eric Carter, our Bat brother. Hey, Eric.
Hi, Andy. I'm glad you didn't say how are you, because usually I would be happy to be on Holy BatCast, but this is a different situation, and you've already heard from Jamie. We were just talking about before the podcast that weed is legal in Colorado, and not much of a smoker, but today considering it.
Guys, there's nothing like a funeral to bring the family together.
Yeah,
fair point.
Anyway, we're going to talk about that, but real quick, we got to also give a thanks to our sponsor, Manscaped, manscaped.com. It feels weird with under these sad circumstances, but hey, you know what? If Zaslav is trimming the slate over with DC, you could be trimming your balls.
That's a segue.
They've got the new Zaslav Lawnmower 4.0. Treating all those DC projects like your pubes. Just trimming them right off with no regard for them or the amount of cells that worked so hard to grow them. Who cares? Trim them off. Just cut them off. Throw them away. Flush them down the toilet. Nobody cares. Manscaped's going to help you with all that. They're also going to help you smell nice with their shampoo/conditioner combo, with their body wash, with their deodorant, with their ball deodorant, all of those things in their boxers. Go to manscaped.com, but if you're going to make a purchase, please use that promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and for free shipping. I'll tell you right now, they're having a sale that's 20% off and free shipping, so just wait another week and then go shopping, because use the BATSCAPE promo code, because that helps us, and you're saving the same amount of money. But go to manscaped.com, buy yourself something nice, use Batscaped, get the discount, support the show in the process, and we thank you for that. And we thank them for continuing to support our show as well. So, Manscaped.com.
I just got my box of swag that I ordered from them the other day, yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And I have a new product in there that has never been sent in one of our sampler packs, never even been discussed by any of us. So, stay tuned for the next episode, because I'll have something to say about what this new product is that we have not previously delved into.
Do you know what I've started incorporating into my daily routine is the moisturizing spray.
Isn't it delightful?
Yeah, I've been using that because you know what? I get those sharp elbows, where your skin gets all dry in your elbows.
Oh, yeah.
I get that. So I've been using the moisturizing spray on my elbows so I don't kill my wife or daughter. Although I consider it like my mutant power, have like razor elbows. Anyway, check out all the products, manscaped.com, and use that promo code BATSCAPED to show your support, and so that way they know that you heard about them from us. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's get to the topic at hand. It's a somber day, and I'll tell you guys, I was out having fun. I was doing something cool for work that I won't go into, but it was actually a very cool thing I was getting to do this afternoon for work. And while this is happening, at the same time, I start getting these notifications about what's going on, and it sure did put a damper on my day. Big old dark storm cloud over my afternoon and evening. And I'm talking about the cancellation of the very anxiously awaited movie from WB, Scoob: Holiday Haunt. I mean, we all loved the first Scoob, and we were like, but what happened before that? What was the prequel? And we were going to find out, and it was going to be a holiday movie. And the cold-hearted Zaslav was like, guess what? You're never going to know now. None of your fucking business. You don't get to fucking know, you pieces of shit. Fuck you and your HBO Max. Fuck your subscription. I don't give a fuck. You're going to go to Discovery. You're going to watch some goddamn dolphins fucking, because you're not going to get to watch Scoob and his friends solve mysteries at Christmas time.
Holy shit.
I mean, he's the one that does the editing. You just made all that work for himself.
He sounds terrific. In addition to the heartbreaking cancellation of Scoob: Holiday Haunt, it appears they have also shelved Batgirl. A movie that is shot, that is well into post-production, nearly finished, that they've already spent $90 million on, by all reports. Apparently it was budgeted at 70, but due to COVID protocols and reshoots, it went up to 90. And strangely, the news broke from the New York Post, where we were all like, what? And then it started spreading like wildfire. Then everybody picked up on it. And as soon as Variety and The Hollywood Reporter confirmed it, it seemed like it is a done deal. And so not only is it not coming to theaters, this was a movie that, again, it was made. We knew it was coming. And it was always meant for HBO Max. But there had been murmurs and rumors and speculation that maybe it could go theatrical. And just the opposite. We may never see it. As of today, it sounds like we're not going to see it. You never know. But for
DC now has their very own Star Wars holiday special.
Yeah. This is like the Roger Corman Fantastic Four all over again.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to go to a comic convention and buy a bootleg on a crusty old VHS tape.
Everybody check your bathrooms at your local airports and see if there's a hard drive laying around. That's all I'm saying.
So anyway, the New York Post broke the news. And they said it's been completely shelved. A top Hollywood source said that the test screenings were received so poorly that they would rather not show it at all. And they said an unspeakable Batgirl is going to be irredeemable. And then as other people started reporting on it, the story started to change. And so now we've heard multiple versions of why it's getting shelved. It's all consistent that it's getting shelved. But we have heard that it's getting shelved because it looked cheap. The costumes looked bad. Then there was a report that, it has nothing to do with the quality of the film. It's just that Zaslav wants DC properties to be big cinematic events, right? To be big epic cinematic events. And this was not that. This was a smaller made for HBO Max movie. They also said it's due to cost cutting. And so there are a lot of speculation and potential reasons, but as of right now, it seems like Batgirl is going away. And so now we know why it wasn't a Comic-Con. So, I mean, Eric, you sound really excited about the news. Why don't you share your thoughts on what's going on?
Well, Brendan brought this up in our group chat, and just less than 48 hours ago, Joe and I were recording an episode, and we were talking about the Ben Affleck news that we had recently about him appearing in Aquaman 2 and just all. And at the time, I was talking about multiple appearances by Keaton, and I was like, this is a great time to be a Batman fan. And while I always think it's a great time to be a Batman fan, damn how 48 hours can change. Um, you know, I'm baffled and I don't really understand, I guess, because like even if you think it's subpar or it's not good or it costs too much money, at this point the thing is virtually done. Like I don't I don't understand how it's not even worthy of an HBO Max release. I mean, get some kind of return on it. It just makes absolutely no sense. And I'm heartbroken for Leslie Grace. I know she was super excited for this role. I personally thought she looked great in the costume and was very excited to see it. And now I just don't know, guys. It seems like the perception of WB just even it doesn't matter at this point who is in the lead, who's in charge over there. The perception is always like this, and they can't get out of their own way, and it's embarrassing. It's just getting embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah. I think Brendan was the one who said, he said, being a DC fan, we can't catch a break, and it is just embarrassing. And I think that is actually a really good way of putting it. Don't tell him I said that. Don't tell him I agreed with him. You know, it'll be impossible to live with. But it is true. It's just God, one more goddamn thing. One more, we can't catch a break. Can't we just have one thing to celebrate? It's just maddening. And I am putting an explicit tag on this because I'm not editing it. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I'm out of fucks to give, guys. Yep. Sorry, this broke me. I'm broken.
Hide your kids.
I'm done. So I don't even care. I don't even care anymore. But it is. It's embarrassing. And like, how many years have I been like, nope, WB's getting it together. And like, I'm done defending it. I got no optimism left. I'm here to be optimistic and to kick ass, and I'm all out of optimism.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, I was honestly looking forward to Zaslav and him taking over the reins, because everything that I had read and everything that I had seen, he seemed like a very competent businessman, and he seemed like he was forward thinking. And I've been thus far pretty disappointed. And to to Brendan's point again, we've still got freaking Gotham Knights coming, supposedly, and Batgirl's canceled.
Yeah. The hits keep on coming, guys. It's really good. It's fun to be a DC fan on the internet. I love it. Jamie, got something you want to share?
I could go all night with what I really want to say, but I'm going to do my best to maintain some control and be civilized and not create editing work that apparently you're not even going to.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Don't care. Say whatever you want.
Just the same.
That's where I'm at.
I'm trying to play nice.
Jamie, I don't give a fuck.
Okay, I understand. So
let your freak fuck flag fly.
There's these things out there that I can mention a few by name: Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, the theatrical version of Justice League, Sucker Punch, Solo: A Star Wars Story, Morbius, The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, numerous others.
You lost me somewhere in there.
Bear with me. Let me get there.
Okay, all right.
My point is, these were all noted before anybody even set foot in a theater or a streaming service or whatever else for them as being the worst piles of garbage ever made in the history of cinema. I like all those movies. Hell, I love some of those movies. So please, can I have an opportunity to determine for myself if a movie's good or bad instead of somebody else making that choice for me? If you read the script and think it's trash, I get it. You haven't got a lot invested at that point. Move on to something else. You've got a $90 million paperweight in this movie now. I don't understand the thought process at all of not releasing this film at least on HBO Max to recover something out of it. And if the movie sucks, so what? I saw a tweet earlier today that said, Batgirl is too bad to release. Sign the studio that greenlit Mortal Kombat 2.
and Catwoman and Jonah Hex.
I mean,
I like
where can we stop the examples here? You know what I'm saying? I don't understand at all. And maybe there's some unseen or unheard part of this story that I don't know about and I'm in the dark. But you know what? I see people talking a bunch of stuff about the movie was so bad because of test screenings from, anonymous people that saw it. I don't give a damn what they thought of the movie. Let me watch the movie. I'll determine for myself whether I think it's good or bad. If you're worried about this being a black eye on the DC or WB brand, I got news for you. You're out of eyes, man. You don't even have any steak and frozen peas left in the freezer because of all the times you've had to take it out and cover up the black eyes that you've received in the course of the last decade. So I don't understand that thought process. People are out there trying to defend WB for doing it. That's your right. You can do that. I don't agree with this choice. I think it's a bad choice. I think the time to stop this would have been at least in early production, if not at the script. I mean, you had to have some idea what the movie was at that point. You can't tell me that it's just so poorly shot that that's why it's bad. I don't get that at all. And I know there's a small but determined faction out there that are convinced that this means that the Snyderverse is getting restored. You know what? I hope you're right. I hope that's what happens because I'd love to see that happen. But you're going to have a hell of a time getting me convinced for that until I see the trailer for something that, leads into that. All these rumors about things that are happening in other DC movies, some of which I know to be true, some of which I'm not sure are true, some of which I'd never heard before today, but somebody decided to spoil every damn thing in the world coming in every DC movie today for me. So, whatever at this point. It just doesn't line up and register with me that that's what's happening here. If it happens, I'm fine with it. I'm okay with it. I love the Snyderverse. I love Zack Snyder. I just don't know that that's what we're going to get. In fact, I at this point, I just don't believe that that's what we're going to get. If you want to hold on to that hope, by all means do so. I'm all for hope, and I'm all for hanging on to your dreams and everything else. Great. I'd love to see a Ben Affleck solo movie, Batman. I'd love to see more Henry Cavill Superman, all that stuff. I want all of it, just like the rest of you do. I'm not convinced that that's why this happened. They talk about cost cutting, and this movie wasn't big. I've heard everything from this movie wasn't big and eventful enough, or whatever you want to call it. To the costumes look like shit. To it just wasn't a good movie, and people are just jumping all over any of these that they can to justify this choice. I'm sorry. At this point, you have this money invested. What do you have to lose by releasing the movie? And please feed somebody else the line of bullshit about they don't want another black eye for another perceived bad movie. I don't buy that for a second either. There's some other reason that I have not come across or has not been divulged to the general public. I don't get it. All I can tell you is I'm a fan of Batgirl. I love Batgirl. You've all heard me say it for years. She is my favorite member of the Bat family, not named Bruce Wayne or Batman. I love Barbara Gordon. I love Batgirl. I love that character. I've loved her since I was a kid, and I've wanted for my entire life to see more Batgirl content in anything, comics, TV, movies, any of it. And this was legitimately the first chance I had to see a feature-length Batgirl solo movie, and somebody came and drank turpentine and pissed on a brush fire with this thing. I'm doing my best to keep my composure, but I got very angry when this news came across my feed today. Very angry. And I'm trying not to be an angry person anymore, but this thing is not making it easy for me to maintain my mental well-being and control of my anger, because
the Lord is testing you.
I'm just, oof. Somebody else take the reins for a minute.
Hallelujah. I am frustrated, I am annoyed, and I am sad. And I do feel like this is the straw that has broken my back. Because again, I always try to be like, you know what, but look, we got this coming, and I'm excited about this and this and this. And it's just like, come on, guys. I will say this. I do have something optimistic, and I have a theory to play devil's advocate, but I'm going to save that to the end. So we can end on a somewhat hopeful note. Because right now, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't pass the smell test. Any of these reasons that are being given make no sense. let's take them one at a time, shall we? The first thing is, they don't want to lose money on it. The money's been spent. The money has been spent, right? The production budget after COVID, they're now saying is $90 million. Let's just say, just for the sake of argument, just as an exercise, let's say if they cut off post-production now, which has been going on for months, if they cut it off now, let's say they save $10 million on whatever post-production was left in this movie. They've already done test screening, so obviously it is done enough to show people and get their opinions. But let's say you could save $10 million by stopping. You still spent 80, all right? And I've heard people go, "Oh yeah, but you're going to save 50 million on marketing." At what point has WB spent $50 million to market anything on HBO Max? 50 million, that would make sense if this was going theatrically. That was never the plan. It was always conceived for HBO Max. They were never going to spend 50 million on marketing for an HBO Max movie. And so sure, you save whatever marketing they had planned for it. You still sunk $80 million into the thing. And you can't even try to justify it by saying, oh, well, it wouldn't have made this much at the box office, because it was never going to make anything at the box office. It's money that's already been invested. So you dump it onto HBO Max because it's freaking done with minimal marketing, and you still have new content to drive subscribers and to get people to watch HBO Max. There's no losing in there. I completely agree with you, said Jamie, and the argument of, yeah, well, you don't want to tarnish the reputation of DC. Too fucking late. Come on, we're the laughing stock of comic book movies. And I just keep on coming back for more. Mm-hmm. One more quote unquote bad movie ain't gonna tip the scales, because I mean, there are a lot of DC movies that I consider great movies that some people would consider bad movies, but man, it's too late. The DC brand has been divisive for 10 damn years now. So what are you gonna do? What's one more gonna hurt? It ain't gonna hurt. So the whole budget thing, no, doesn't add up, doesn't hold water. I just saw something where it said, oh, they actually ran the numbers and they said it would be better as just a tax write-off. Maybe, perhaps. I'm not an accountant. I can't speak to tax law, but perhaps. The whole thing about, the costumes looked like crap. We saw them. We've already seen them. That doesn't hold water. We saw them. They look good. They're not the best superhero costumes I've ever seen, but they looked pretty damn good. And we also saw them in Spy Picks, and they looked pretty damn good in Spy Picks. And no superhero costume has ever looked better in a Spy Pick than it did on film. So no, I don't buy that either. I don't.
And specifically with Keaton, wouldn't that theoretically be the same suit that he's going to be in The Flash?
Probably, or at least similar. They always do tweaks.
It doesn't make a lot of sense if they made two different suits for two different movies if they already had one sitting there in use from the other one.
Which, hell, who knows if The Flash is going to happen at this point?
Yeah.
Please, let's not start that conversation. I can't handle it tonight.
And just with the talent involved in this thing, right? Just with the talent involved. The directors of Bad Boys for Life, that was a good movie. It's not like these are guys, it's their first time and they screwed it up and they were out of their depth. No, man. They made Bad Boys for Life. It was great.
Didn't one of these snippets or articles or blurbs or whatever say something to the effect that WB is already looking forward to moving on to the next project with them?
I didn't see that. I did see a little snippet that was being like, that was something like that of like, oh, this in no way reflects on, on the filmmakers. Like I did see something like that. Yeah.
And maybe that is a diplomatic, public opinion approach. Sorry, I'm tripping all over my words tonight. But it doesn't seem to me that WB is going to be very excited about working with somebody that made a $90 million pile of trash that they don't even feel comfortable releasing in any format.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that doesn't really line up either, but
yeah, I think it's political speak.
It is. So, but you've got these two on the rise filmmakers. You've got Leslie Grace after her breakout role of In the Heights. You've got Michael Keaton returning as Batman. You've got J.K. Simmons as Gordon. You've got Brendan Fraser. The internet's one true love next to Keanu Reeves. Yeah, right? This is all A-list cast. That alone is enough to get eyeballs on this thing. on HBO Max or otherwise. So to shelve a high-profile project like this with this talent involved, there is something else going on here. And again, I'll get to my theory in a minute, but like, it just doesn't make any logical sense. It's insanity. And again, people are worried about, oh, well, you don't want to tarnish the reputation of DC. How do you think this looks? How does it look shelving a completed movie about Batgirl?
Not good.
Is that good for your reputation?
Mm-mm.
I mean, even if this is true, even if the movie is hot, flaming dumpster juice, even if that is true, at this point, people have heard enough about it being bad. They might as well release it so people can watch it for the morbid curiosity factor, if nothing else. It makes no sense in the world to me how you have a basically finished movie that doesn't get released with that much money and time invested.
No, it doesn't.
And as far as the restoration of the Snyderverse, and again, I'm totally not against that. I'm totally not. I just don't believe it. But even if that is true, are they just going to halt all DC productions and make things fit into that Snyderverse for the foreseeable future? Because if you're going to get Zack Snyder back to make Justice League 2 and 3, Ben Affleck back to make a Batman movie, this is shit that ain't going to happen for a minimum of 3 years. As far as, production to screen, you know what I'm saying? They need content to fill that DC gap in the meantime. So again, it doesn't make sense to shelve this movie, even if it's not in continuity with those, because it's more DC content. They've got an entire DC hub on HBO Max that they need to put things in. So all the animated movies drop in there, all the, TV series and other movies, that they're always fluxing in and out of that thing. They need something in there. And people talk about, Wonder Woman 84 met with mixed reactions, and Birds of Prey met with mixed reactions, and the Suicide Squad met with mixed reactions, on and on. Guess what? Those all still showed up in HBO Max's most popular movies being watched right now list for weeks after they were released. So somebody somewhere is watching them. It ain't just me sitting there watching each one of them 4 times a day. I promise you that. So again, none of this lines up logically. Any of the theories that I've heard so far, none of the logic lines up to the point where I'm saying, yeah, that's got to be it.
Yeah. And apparently this tax write-off thing is a follow-up article that just hit Variety within the last, 30 minutes.
Okay. But that was a new thing to me, but I haven't been on social media since, I don't know.
Well, I kind of have a theory on the opposite end of the Snyderverse stuff, Jamie. With the issues that they've had, and we all know about the issues with the whole Snyder thing. We don't need to get into that, but the whole thing's been problematic ongoing. I mean, they have the Ezra Miller stuff. They have the Amber Heard stuff. They have apparently a movie in Batgirl that supposedly they're not happy with. Signs are pointing to me, and I could be way off, and I'd be more than happy to be way off. I have a feeling Zaslav's going to scrap the whole fucking thing. It feels like to me we're heading towards a relaunch, cancel everything, start fresh, new DC universe. And I could be entirely wrong. Like I said, I'd be happy to be wrong, but I don't know. I just think they're not happy with the trajectory that they're heading in, and I think this new leader would like to see a brand new shiny toy, if that makes any sense.
I think you're kind of going where I was thinking. Before I get to that, though, I just pulled up this new Variety article, and here's what it says. Talking about Batgirl, it says it was neither big enough to feel worthy of a theatrical release or small enough to make economic sense in an increasingly cutthroat streaming landscape. So spending the money to expand Batgirl for theaters, which would include $30 to $50 million in marketing, could have nearly doubled the spending on the film. And insiders say that was a non-starter for a company now focused on belt tightening and the bottom line. Releasing the movie on HBO Max would seem to be the most obvious solution, but instead they shelved it because if they do, they could take a tax write-down on both Batgirl and Scoob, which is seen as the most financially sound way to recoup the costs.
And from a business aspect, maybe that's the sensible approach. I don't know. But to say that it doesn't work to spend that much money on a streaming service film. Didn't Netflix just give the Russo brothers like $200 million to make that piece of garbage called The Gray Man?
They did. And Red Notice.
I
I
liked
didn't
Red
think that was
Notice.
garbage.
I
I
liked
thought
Red Notice.
was
I'm not
Notice was
commenting on the quality of it. It's just
the Gray Man. I didn't care for that at all. You know, some people out there apparently like it. Some people didn't. Whatever, man. Everybody, you do you. That's just how it works. But that's over twice as much money. And, you know, Netflix probably has more subscribers at this. I don't know how many Netflix has. I read today, I think HBO Max, they said they had, 78 million subscribers. That's a pretty hefty number. It's not anything to scoff at by any means.
Yeah, but
I to say that $90 million is too much to have invested in a movie that's going straight to streaming. I'm sorry. I don't buy that shit. I don't buy it for a second, especially with as strong as the streaming stuff has become over the course of the last couple of years when everybody's been locked in their damn house.
Well, and I also feel like HBO Max is now, like, I feel like the big three are Netflix, Disney Plus, and HBO Max.
I think that's fair.
I feel like HBO Max is very safely nestled in that top tier. I don't think that it is struggling the way some of the other streaming services are. And yeah, this is a high profile project to bring more attention to it, but it sounds like Zaslav is not convinced of the streaming business. And so, yeah, I think he's just washing his hands of it. And again, I get it. Like, I get canceling, say, Wonder Twins, even though I wanted to see it and I'm still disappointed. I get it from a business perspective of like, hey, it was going to cost this much. It's for streaming. We have not started production. I get it, because then you do save the money.
Right.
But again, when the money's already spent, the movie's been made, it just feels cruel and ridiculous to be like, nope, nobody gets to see it. It's just stupid.
You're not telling me that there's not some clever magic accounting going on in Hollywood anywhere where they could claim that they lost it releasing it on the streaming service and still get some kind of a tax write-off to cover some of the loss anyway. I mean, I'm not an accountant. I'm not in the business of filmmaking or releasing or production or any of that. I don't know for sure, but these guys have some really clever accounting that goes on. I mean, I've referenced it a couple times, even recently, that, you know, sometimes actors are forced to call in lawyers and have the film audited to see if it ever, you know, made money. I mean, what was it Bohemian Rhapsody that you said, Andy? The damn thing made almost $1 billion and they claim they didn't make any money on that movie.
Yep.
So yeah, don't tell me they don't have clever accounting going on, where they could make it work however they wanted it to work.
Well, they have to know how the perception is right now. I mean, you'd have to be blind not to. And usually I would hate to bring this up, but since we're in this mood anyway, you know, when we just had San Diego Comic-Con and DC Warner Brothers brought 2 films, and then you have, you know, the other side of the aisle, you have Marvel announcing 567 projects and everybody's going nuts and yay. And then a few days later, you get this news from DC. You know, it's no wonder the perception is what it is. And it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to make the comparison, but I feel it's warranted because it sucks.
I mean, I'm not going to debate the actual, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? The quality of the product, because I'm the wrong person to enter that debate with any kind of.
But they know how to treat their fan base, and they know how to.
It's not even a matter of knowing how to treat your fan base. It's a matter of they made a specific plan and they stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're continuing to stick with it. And they've announced their plans for 3 years down the road already, 2 or 3 years down the road. I'm betting they're going to stick to that. You know, the only thing Marvel ever seems to change is they might move a release date here and there. They have conviction in what they're doing, and they've been successful. And DC has been moderately successful. They've been really successful in a few cases. They've been nowhere near successful in a couple of others. But the fact of the matter is, Marvel makes a plan and they stick to it, and DC doesn't. And I know people have made that comparison and that argument for years, but as much as I would hate to concede it, I think that's the biggest thing, is the consistency. There is no consistency in the world of DC.
Well,
as far as the film.
and even when they had something like Eternals, which was not received well, they didn't blink.
No,
The train keeps rolling. So, and I'm sorry, Andy. I'm not trying to make this about Marvel versus DC, but it's just, mindset right now.
Well, I understand that, but let's put, first to address like the whole, they stick to the plan, DC does not. And it's because we've seen how many regime changes within WB/DC since the beginning of the DCEU with Man of Steel. Multiple times, at least 3 big shakeups that have happened over that time. So every time that happens, the new team comes in and they go, okay, well, we like this, we don't like this, and they shuffle it around, and we as fans go, okay, well, hopefully they're working it out, they're making order of the mess, they're cleaning it up, and we'll finally have a plan. And then the next movie comes, and then it's divisive or whatever happens, or it underperforms, and then they shuffle everyone around again, and we're back to square one. And that's exactly what's happening now. Now there's the Discovery WB merger, new bosses, new regime. They're coming in and they're fucking shit up. And they're supposedly trying to make order of chaos, which is what the last 3 guys tried to do. And so I just want someone to do it for real so we can have a clear path moving forward. We hear it all the time from the fan base. They need to have a plan. They need to have a plan. They need to have a plan. Everybody's got plans, but none of them are around long enough to make that plan work.
Reminds me of a sports team.
And me too. And I do think, the Comic-Con of them only showing Black Adam and only showing Shazam, I think it is very revealing now that we're seeing things like this happen. It means everything after this is up for grabs. David Zaslav is looking at the slate, and he's not afraid to shit can something that's been almost $100 million been spent on it.
Yep.
Which I do think that does put on the table of just canceling the Flash altogether. Which
I was just getting ready to ask you that question. Does this tax write-off that they're going to receive from Batgirl and Scoob give them enough reserve or whatever you want to call it? I mean, they could just do it anyway and call that a write-off, but will that soften the blow if they decide at this point to just pull the plug on the Flash and say to hell with it? It's too much time.
It's
money for something. That
I feel like at this point, nothing's off the table. I feel like nothing is off the table because, we all know the Flash is a challenge. The problem is it's been much like Batgirl. It's been made. And up until today, I've been like, you already made the damn movie. What are you going to do? Just lose $200 million? Apparently, maybe they will. And wouldn't it be crazy? If Michael Keaton came back as Batman and he shot 3 movies and we don't get to see any of them?
I just saw someone comment earlier on one of the posts, and they said, with this one and possibly The Flash, Keaton's just a few cancellations away from starting Justice League Cancelled.
Right. It's great. He came back for all of this. 2 of the movies were made, and then a cameo in Aquaman 2. What if we see none of it? What the hell is going on? And to your point, when you said it way back when we started, Eric, my heart goes out to Leslie Grace. It breaks for her. She is amazing. She's incredibly talented. I was super excited to see her get the role. And she has been such a great, passionate advocate for the role from the moment she was announced. She's shared that excitement on social media. She's shared photos. She's out there meeting kids. She would be a wonderful Batgirl. I was so excited to see her in the role. What a heartbreak that no one's going to get to see that. Not to mention everyone else who put their blood, sweat, and tears into this movie.
I also read today, and I never went to check for myself or anything, but I read secondhand information that said she's deleted all the Batgirl stuff off of her Twitter profile and Instagram.
She has one left of her with a kid on her Instagram. Oh, she's got a few left, but none of...
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good anyway.
Yeah.
That is heartbreaking. And again, what message does it send to the filmmakers, Adil El-Arbi, Bilal Fallah? What does it say to them of, oh, thanks for making this movie? I mean, they got paid. At least that's something. What does that say to other filmmakers who want to come work with this new regime of,
they don't like your movie?
Yeah. And then if they do the same,
been working for Kathleen Kennedy like clockwork.
If they do the same with Andy Muschietti for The Flash, he's another incredible talent right now.
And he's a proven property with Warner Brothers.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I am now at the point where I think anything is possible. And I think that's what you were getting at, Eric, is they could just shit can the whole damn thing. I don't think it'll happen for Aquaman 2 because they just did reshoots, right? And it's James Wan, and Aquaman 1 made $1 billion. I think Aquaman 2 is safe. You know, obviously Black Adam and Shazam, they went to Comic-Con with it. Those are safe. I think Wonder Woman 3 probably safe, you know? But
Well,
like,
Patty Jenkins doesn't strike me as somebody who's going to tolerate a lot of bullshit. So
but
it might not be safe just on that factor. They could always get somebody else to step in for her, but are you going to get Gal back without Patty?
right. So, and that's kind of why I feel like that's a pretty safe bet after the success of the first film. And the second film, I like the second film, but like the box office doesn't even count because of COVID.
Yeah.
But Blue Beetle is certainly at risk, even though they already shot it.
Well, I personally don't even think Wonder Woman's safe, honestly.
You're right. I mean, yeah, you could be right. I'm just looking at like, what do we know is coming? What's in development? Like that feels like a safe bet. That feels like a quote cinematic event that they would be okay investing in because of the talent involved and because it's Wonder Woman and because the first film was such a runaway success. But the smaller ones, like the Blue Beetles, like the Batgirls, those are the ones that I think are in danger.
Well, yeah, because does Blue Beetle feel like an event film? I mean,
at least Blue Beetle had already been determined to go theatrical, so
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how David Zaslav defines what a cinematic event film is, right?
Well, I mean, I imagine that's going to be an effects-laden film with a lot of, VFX shots, that sort of thing. I mean,
I wouldn't call Joker a cinematic event film.
No?
It cost $60 million. It wasn't epic.
I mean, is Joker 2 off the
I don't know.
table now? Is the Batman 2 off the table now?
No.
Okay. There's two things that they could approach that I really don't want to see happen. Number one, trying to base a cinematic universe on the Batman. I don't want that.
I don't think Matt Reeves will go for that.
I don't think he will either,
I
but that doesn't mean he's not replaceable in their eyes.
True.
They already let him walk away once. So
yeah, but that was two bosses ago.
True.
Who knows? No, I think the Batman stays in its own universe, and that will continue because the movie was a big enough hit. So, but yeah, like, what does it mean for a shared universe? God, hell if I know. You know, it's crazy, but I do think that what you said earlier, Eric, I think that might be the case. Is there are certain things they have to that are going to run their natural course, like Aquaman and Wonder Woman, maybe, but the Flash was supposed to reset all this. But if they throw it away, not just because of the drama with Ezra, but just because then they can start from scratch however they want, with whoever they want. If you're no longer putting that reset on the table, you get to create your own. And what does that look like?
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't put it past him to honestly cancel the Flash at this point. I don't think he's scared to cancel big budget items because when they were running CNN, when he was in charge over with CNN and everything, they apparently launched CNN Plus at $300+ million, and a few days after launch, he shit canned it. So I wouldn't put it past him to do anything at this point.
Well, me either, especially because he kind of has plausible deniability coming in as the new boss of going, oh, well, yeah, I had to clean up their mess, and you blame the people who have already gone. It's a tale as old as time, and that buys him some goodwill, right?
Maybe.
At least short term.
Maybe not with fans, but I'm just saying with Wall Street, with shareholders, he has a certain amount of immunity because right now he's just coming in and cleaning up the mess. It's different if he's canceling his own $90 million movie, but no, man, he inherited this.
Now, I will say this, and this is just me trying to be some kind of positive. If they were to scrap the whole thing, and under his leadership, they were to start an amazing new DC universe, I'd be the first to say I'm thrilled about it. But it's just hard to see the forest for the trees right now.
Well, if he actually comes out and says, "Hey, our bad, y'all. We've kind of tripped ourselves up in the last few years. We've kind of been a mess. This hand doesn't know what this hand's doing. We're going to just come in and do things fresh. Don't worry. We're going to do right by the fans. And, we're going to make the best darn DC cinematic universe you could ever hope to see." If he comes out and gets in front of it and says something like that, I can get behind this. I'll still be mad that I lost a Batgirl movie that I really wanted to see, but I'll at least understand at that point. But no, WB doesn't like to tell people shit. They like them to figure it out for themselves or fight about it on Twitter for 5 years before something finally shows up, which is another damn problem. Get a PR department, for fuck's sake.
No, and I completely agree. I mean, and that's what should be happening. And I think that is where sort of my optimistic devil's advocate attitude is, which is, hey, let's say that is what's going on. He wants to clean the board. He wants to clean up the mess and start from a nice, clean, fresh place where we can really set up a DC universe on film and we can define a plan and move forward. And we are not constantly reshuffling everything every year or two. Maybe that's the case. And if that's the case, great, because I think we would all be happy about the end result of what that looks like. But it would really be great if he would say that, or if someone would say that of like, hey, yeah, we got to go through some growing pains right now, and sacrifices will be made, but DC on film isn't going where. We have great plans, blah, 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 whatever, to know that there is an end game in mind. Because right now, it just looks from the outside looking in like, save money, cancel this, don't spend money here, and it's not encouraging to us as fans.
No, and the sad part for me personally is, as much as I'm looking forward to things like Black Adam and Shazam, I have this worry now that I'm going to be going into opening weekend of each one of these movies feeling like, well, I hope it's good, but damn, it kind of feels like a lame duck.
Yeah.
Like, is there anything after this, or are we scrapping it? So, and I don't want to see that happen because I love a lot of these characters. I don't want to not have Zachary Levi, and I'm not saying that would happen at all, but I love some of these characters, most of these characters. So yeah, it's hard to see where the future lies.
Right. And it would be nice to just have a little transparency of like, here's what's going on. Here's what the plan is moving forward. But because we don't get that, we just get stuff like this. And, for all the people who are like, oh, I trust him, I'm sure it's for the best. Like, good on you. But my goodwill is pretty much used up at this point.
Yeah. I mean, a perfect example would have been the Cavill thing. I mean, just let everybody know what's going on. Hey, look, guys, we have no plans to move forward with Henry Cavill. Or just to get ahead of it, there's some potential there, but that doesn't happen. So,
right. And what is it going to be? Like, I agree with Jamie. I ain't holding my breath for a restoration of the Snyderverse. Personally, I would like it. I think that would be great, but I don't think that's where it's going. But if it were, you know what? That would be great to know. And we'd at least know that is the plan moving forward. If the plan is to, again, kind of get as much of a clean slate as humanly possible, that would be good to know. Just having some sort of insight as to what's going on. And I know we're fans. They don't owe us anything, but come on, you do have a perception problem around the DC Films brand. You do. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to be making these tough decisions and these sacrifices and these $90 million write-downs to try and salvage the DC Films brand because there's value there, you should also be smart enough to know that you've got a whole bunch of passionate fans out there who want to support you. So let us by telling us something.
Agreed. I don't really know what else I can say about it, honestly.
Well, and that is the end of that chapter. So, I mean, again, to end on a more optimistic note, I do hope that even though I think some of these decisions are suspect and they're certainly disappointing and they can be angering, I hope that in the end, it yields a much stronger foundation for DC on film moving forward. And I hope that he does see the value in that. I hope it is true what they're saying, that he wants DC to be a big cinematic event. I hope that's true. And maybe part of that is he doesn't want to dilute the brand by having it everywhere. And I think there could be value in that if that's truly what his plan is like, you know what? We don't want to be giving it away for free on HBO Max. We want to make it events in theaters because that's still where our business is focused. I hope that's true because I think in the end, as fans of Batman, as fans of Superman and of DC, I think we all want to feel better about the plan moving forward. And so if these disappointments are what we pay to get there in the end, I think it might be worth it. It just sucks right now because we don't know what that looks like.
And Lord knows Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Thor Love and Thunder really, really suffered badly at the box office because WandaVision and Loki and all that other stuff went to Disney Plus. You know, that was a terrible decision on their part, right?
Well, if the rumors are true, and you know how rumors are, supposedly I think WB has a investor call this week or next week. I can't remember which one. Maybe just on the optimistic side, maybe there's some clarity there. Maybe we find out some information of where this thing is headed and what Zaslav aims to do. Because I'll be honest, I was really excited when I heard that he was bringing Alan Horn on. I told you that, Andy.
Yeah.
I thought that was an awesome move.
Yeah, and I still do. That's a move that gives me hope.
Mm-hmm. But it's like you take 2 steps forward or 1 step forward and 3 steps back. It's just...
Who's Alan Horn?
He was the head of WB Pictures for many, many years, and he ushered in some of their biggest franchises. And then he left to go work at Disney. And then now he's back at WB, but in a more overall advisory role.
I see. So he's not like the guy targeted to build the DC universe, as it were, or something like that. Okay. Because I know there was talk about that a month or two ago that they were looking for somebody to like oversee the whole thing. You know,
I think he might be a key part in picking that person.
I think so too. And he was the man in charge during the Nolan era.
Okay.
Not to mention Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. You know, like a lot of
those little independent films that nobody saw.
Yeah, a lot of WB's crown jewels. You know, was during Alan Horn's reign. And that's why Disney wooed him away. And honestly, I feel like he didn't do much at Disney, if I'm being honest. Like, because like it's like by the time he was over there, it was like it's Star Wars, it's Marvel, and you know, it's animation. Like there's not a lot coming out of Disney that's not those things. And so I don't know how much they really used him, but to bring him back to help kind of rejigger the leadership at WB, I do think is a good move. And that was an encouraging piece of news that came out in the past week or so.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's hoping, here's hoping in the long run, it'll be a good thing. It's just right now, it's exhausting. It's embarrassing. It's hard to get excited right now because like you said, even the stuff we know is coming, it's all tainted right now because we just don't know what any of it means, if it's going to matter, if it's going to get unceremoniously dumped. It's just not an encouraging time to be a DC fan. And when we started this and Jamie, you were giving me crap and you're like, you're the one who wanted to record this. I guess, being a DC fan has just made me a glutton for punishment. I'm just so used to it at this point that it just feels normal.
Our pal Drew Keith said on Twitter earlier today, don't ever believe a DC movie is coming until you've seen the end credits.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, he's taken my thing one step further, but at this point, I'm with him. I mean, he's right. It's so damn hard to be excited about the stuff that we know is coming because now at this point, we don't know that it's coming for sure.
Right.
But even so, I mean, I'm like, Batgirl was literally the one of Shazam 2, Aquaman 2, Flash, Black Adam, Wonder Woman 3, whatever, any of the Superman projects that they had lined up with like Michael B. Jordan and whatever else, any of that stuff. Batgirl was the thing I wanted the most out of all of it. So knowing I'm not getting that and may never even see it, I'm gutted. I'm just totally gutted.
I have serious doubts that we're ever going to see that Green Lantern series at this point either.
Oh,
Oh shit! Don't even talk to me about Green Lantern because obviously they don't know what they're doing with that property.
yeah.
So,
Remember that Green Lantern Corps movie we were supposed to get? Yeah.
It was really good, man. I didn't think it was that bad.
You know.
Beware My Power is pretty good. I'll say that.
I still haven't watched it, but
Me either. It's not on HBO Max yet.
on Holy BatCast, we wait a good year before we do.
Yeah, we like to give everybody a chance to get caught up with it.
Yeah. So, it's been a day, and we'll see how it goes. But just remember, friends, we're all in this together.
Hey,
We're one
Andy,
big
there's
happy family.
a cheerful point here. Apparently, and I'm planning on going to see it this weekend because I need to pick me up. Apparently, Super Pets is getting really decent reviews. So
Everyone I
good
know
things.
who has seen it has said it's really good, and
Yeah.
I almost went tonight actually, but I was too depressed, and I wanted to talk to you, fine gentlemen. But I am going to try to go sometime this week. And Catherine, who's the best wife ever, she said, "Yeah, I'll watch Harley, and you can go to the movies."
Take her with you.
I'm not bringing Harley to the movie,
Why not?
because she's 5 months old.
So
I'm not that guy.
you need to find you one of those theaters with a parent room.
I do. I didn't even know that existed till Jamie told me about it, but I really do. Okay. We good for another day?
I think so. I
Yeah.
don't want to get back into this because I'm just starting to calm down. Batgirl, we hardly knew ye.
I mean, I don't think it's the one I was the most excited for, but I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, same. Pour one out for Batgirl.
Ugh, what a shit show. Hope you know what you're doing, David Zaslav. Or you're going to answer to me, this guy right here. Don't you show your face around Winter Garden, Florida, mister.
Or Northeast Indiana.
Damn right. All right, guys.
Your east of the Mississippi privileges have been revoked, Zaslav.
Okay. For now. If next month you announce something amazing and you make it all worth it, we'll reconvene and decide at that point. But for now, you're on the shit list and you're staying there until further notice.
Yeah, give me a World's Finest movie or a DC Trinity movie. Give me something along those lines. You and me can be friends again.
Because I told Joe that he's going to come out next week and sign Affleck to a 3-picture deal, and then I'm going to be like, "Oh shit!"
Hey! If he does that, you know
I'll
what?
send him a fruit basket.
Yes, we will forgive. We will forgive and forget. If he manages to resurrect the Gambit movie for me, then we're going to be A-okay.
Is that dead in the water again?
It's been dead in the water for years.
I thought they were digging that back up.
No. I mean, and forget that it's the wrong studio, but I don't care.
Well, hey, at this point, I'm not sure that Disney has any more idea what they're doing with X-Men than WB does what they're doing with DC. I'm just saying.
All right, guys. Well, let's get out of here. Let's go to bed. Our loyal listeners have listened to us bitch long enough. But misery loves company, guys. So thanks for joining.
They like a good rant episode every now and then.
I know, and I try not to do it, but God, forget it. Fuck it. That's what you get.
We should have called Leroy. We could have really got it going.
None of us would have had to say a word.
You bitches I like steak. You bitches like hamburgers.
Man. That just dusted off some memories.
Oh God, I listened to that on the way back from that spring break trip, and I was laughing the whole time. I was like, God, Leroy, I miss you so much.
Well, next episode, it seems like we're finally going to get that Dark Knight Rises commentary, so that'll be good.
I'm listening to these two jokers talk about that movie right now on my podcast feed.
Oh. Somebody jumped ahead.
Yeah, we did.
That's fine.
And that's
we
where
tried
I made the Batman
to do
fan
it 3
comment.
weeks ago. All right, guys. Well, Eric, thanks for joining. Good to have a little guest appearance.
Thank you for having me. The circumstances weren't great, but it's always good to talk to you guys and Jamie for the first time. So
I was
You've
going to
never
say,
talked
man,
to Jamie?
the next time we get this hooked up, we need to make sure it's for a more joyous occasion.
no, yeah, this is the first time that me and Jamie have actually spoken. So
Wow. Momentous. Well, there's a good
I
reason.
think I've talked to Joe once or twice, but I guess not with Eric. I didn't realize that.
Me either.
I guess all the communicating we do on social media and
yeah,
listening to his show and everything, I guess I just assumed we'd converse, but I'm having what do they call that? The Nelson Mandela effect or something like that. You know?
Nelson, man.
Close enough. Anyway, Eric, tell people where they can find you, where they can go listen to about how such a good time to be a Batman fan.
Yeah, regrettable statement, but yeah. So you can find my personal accounts on social media on Instagram and Twitter. And Letterboxd. That's me Carter89, MECarter89, and my show, The Fire Rises, that I host with Joe Forno, who's been on this show several times. You can find that anywhere you get your podcasts.
And don't forget to buy your Fire Rises merch. Because Eric's only in it for the money.
That's what I've heard.
You greedy bastard.
He's a sellout, man.
He is. Hey, you know what? It's good to sell out.
That's why we podcast, right?
That's why we do this, is for all that money. Okay.
Selling out is the most ridiculous, ludicrous thing you could possibly do, and I can't believe anybody would do it. This message was brought to you by Manscaped and Carl's Jr.
Carl's Jr. Excellent.
Little Idiocracy reference for you there.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Really?
No, I've never seen it.
You should watch it. It's a documentary now.
Yeah. Jamie, where can we find you? As if we don't know.
I'm on Twitter ranting about Batgirl cancellations today, and who knows, maybe tomorrow I'll be back into a zone where I'm just like, screw it, life's too short. But at BatRaider3960,
great
on Twitter,
and here
groups here on this fine podcast. Apparently, I'm wanted on The Fire Rises at some point, and I'd be happy to do that if we can get schedules to line up.
Oh yeah, we'd love to have you.
Well, we'll see how that works. Anyway, thank you guys as always for joining us. Thanks for downloading or streaming the show. Please do subscribe or follow the show wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoy the show, you can also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. We would appreciate that. You can go to holybatcast.com or find Holy BatCast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. If you got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, we'll do that eventually, probably 2 episodes from now. You can send those to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. We've already gotten some come through about today's topic, so y'all know we're just as frustrated as you. So there you go. Hope it makes you feel better. Our theme music was created by the very talented Gaur Venkateswar. His work can be found at gvtunes.com. And don't forget to go to manscaped.com, do a little shopping. But if you're going to make a purchase, please use the promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. That'll do it. On behalf of Jamie and Eric, I've been Andy. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for.
Eric said, pour one out for Batgirl, and I'm like, too late, pal. I've already poured 3 down my throat for Batgirl.
Close enough. I put extra grenadine in my Coke, which for me is like the equivalent of drinking.
Easy.
You animal, you.
I know. It's a crazy night.
You have a child to care for.
Well, I ain't driving anywhere.